All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Pond Hockey Podcast.
This is a new setting for us.
Very new setting for us, actually. We're not in the studio anymore. We're
We're
not in
both
the
back home.
Yeah, we're not in the radio studio anymore. We're not in the TV studio. We're both back home. And my scenery will change again for the next two episodes because I'll be going back to my other home.
At least for
So,
right now, I think this is my setting. As can tell by
yeah,
the dozens of shot glasses.
I like the shot glasses. I like the shot
It's my
glasses.
collector's item.
I have
Also,
a picture of Marc-Andre Fleury and
these are
Ben
mine.
Roethlisberger,
That's Big Ben.
and this is Mike Wallace.
It's Mike Wallace. Oh my
Yeah, that is
goodness.
Mike
What a
Wallace.
name.
Blast from the past.
What a legend.
Yeah,
Also, can we just appreciate our names?
they can see it. I'll get to mine later.
We'll get to yours
You're in
later.
a better mood than I am, so
I'm in a much better mood. I watched
you're in a
game
way
three for a
better mood.
reason.
Yeah,
I
you're in a
watched
way
game
better
three.
mood.
So you, on
Yeah,
the other hand, I'm gonna
yeah,
be we're gonna have a
yeah.
little bit of a therapy session towards the end of this. But I guess let's start off. I guess to start off, the second round's been kind of uneventful, if we're being honest.
A lot of unexpected surprises, but other than that, like it's just a surprise that like
It's
the
only been one
series
good
scores.
series.
Honestly, yeah, and I don't even know if I'd call it that
Yeah,
because like the Toronto Florida series
bad
has been absolutely terrible. Well, great if you're a
pain,
Florida fan, shitty if
pain
you're a
if you're a
Leafs fan.
Toronto fan.
Um the Canes and Devils series, it looked like the Devils were going to do exactly what they did last round where they go down 2 games to none, have them right where they want them, and now
And now they're
Devils
getting
are
pumped
down.
6-1. I
Yeah.
guess let's start with that series, if
Oh
nothing
my.
else.
Yeah.
It's yeah, that series has
It's
probably been the worst easily.
I don't I think Florida and Toronto has been the worst. Honestly.
I would agree because of the obviously because Toronto right now is getting swept, but
Just because in my opinion, like sure the games have been on paper competitive, but when you sit down and actually watch the games, Florida has just been better. They've just been better. That's all there is to it.
I will give you that.
With the Devils and the Canes, I mean, they've gone back and forth. Like game 3 was good. I think games 1 and 2
Yeah.
were fine as well. But game 4, the Devils gave up 4 goals in like 4 minutes. Like it was a competitive game. They scored the first goal early and then it just imploded. Like it literally looked like they were demolishing a building. That's how much of a collapse it was. It was really bad.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's still
game two
going
was
on right
pretty bad
now.
as well. Yeah, no, it's still
Yeah.
going on. Game two was bad as well because they let Devils let four in the second period, just completely caved in. They've had so much of that this series. They've gotten caved in some periods.
And the other thing I don't understand that they did this game, they started Vitek Vanacek instead of
I
Schmid, who's carried them in the postseason. Like, I get he had a bad game, but at the same time, Vanacek showed you he didn't have it in the first 2 games in the first round.
Yeah, when he gave up a
Why did,
combined 10 goals
yeah,
in 2 games,
why
and they
did you
lost by a
think it would
combined
be
score
any
10 to
different?
2.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
why would
and
you think it would be any different?
and then the coach probably does the shocked Pikachu face when he finds out he sucks and he gives up 5 goals
Yeah.
on 17 shots. Oh my god.
Because I'm like, with the coaches, like, they get, especially with the goalies, they get in their heads way too much because it's either you have a hot goalie who's had one bad game and you automatically want to hit the panic button, be like, okay, we got to go to this guy, even though his sample size has been terrible. Like Minnesota did the same thing in the first round. Like they played Flurry instead of Gustafson
In game two, they got pounded. I
and
don't
they
even
get
remember how
pumped.
bad.
Yeah.
They go like
So
6-1, 6-2, something bad.
yeah. Like
I hate the Wild.
if you have a goalie who you know has been if not great, relatively decent all playoff run and you have a pseudo non-option behind him, just play the guy that gives you the best chance to win. Like it doesn't matter if he has one bad game. Like you
Yeah,
need to keep playing him.
I thought nothing else. Rod Brindamore was going to make that mistake
That's
because he
what
did
I
it
thought
last
too.
year,
Yeah.
or I think around the same time. So I was like, oh, he might do it again. No,
Nope.
no.
Freddie's been
Credit
solid. So is
credit to Freddie.
Ronta.
You know, they've both been good. Yeah.
Yep.
It also helps their offense just continues to pump them immensely.
Oh, it's
There's
been their forward lines and their defense has been just caving them in too. Like they keep the pucks in the zone whenever the Devils try to clear it out. Like I think it's a mix of the Hurricanes just having a perfect plan for the Devils, and it's just the Hurricanes experience because the Devils, like I said before, are a young team. It's going to take them a while.
It's definitely helped as well because they've had some big like playoff performers, like
Yeah,
some older veterans. Like, I mean, obviously Jordan Stahl and Brett Burns is having a great postseason.
Brent Burns has been really good. Like this is throwback to 2016, in my opinion.
They're having
It's been really good.
they're having a huge playoff performance from Stefan Nazen, which I don't think I would have
Yeah.
expected.
Yes and no. Like I would have expected, like, cause he's very good on the power play for them, but like just
Mm-hmm.
in general, even 5-on-5, he's been pretty good too.
Like, I definitely think you would have had the main, like, and Martinook's been a monster.
Martinook has been an underrated player for a long time. I've always
Crazy.
liked him. In the playoffs, he just gets to a whole nother level. He's one of those guys who's scrappy. He'll punch you in the face, but at the same time, if you let it get to you, he'll pot a couple goals on you.
It's one of those things I guess I kind of underrated with the Kings of how good their depth is.
Yeah.
So when you lost Svetnikov, I thought they were going to struggle
Oh
with,
yeah, me too.
but I give them a lot of credit. They show why they're the top team in the Atlantic
Oh, the
or
Metro, yeah,
Metro.
Metro,
My brain
yeah,
just imploded on
yeah.
me.
You're fine. You're fine. But
It explains that they're the top team in the Metro, and it shows with games like this, even with as
yeah,
well as the Devils did. But
because like they only finished a point apart from each other in the standings,
mhm,
but the playoffs are a whole different beast. Like you need that experience. Like it shows, it really does. Like people think it's a cliche, and like at points it is, but like that
mhm,
experience. Like look at
comes
the
in handy when
teams.
you need it.
Look at the teams who've struggled in the past, like who couldn't get over the hump. Like once you get that experience to finally get over a hump, like it's a problem that a bunch of teams have run over. Like if you get over the
Yeah,
hump, you're like, okay, now what? Like, and you just lose track of your game. Like
because the
it
Canes are
happens a
another
lot.
team that's like trying to get like to that point because like
Yeah,
we've talked about like the Leafs and like the Islanders and another team and like stuff like that. The Canes have had a lot of
they
like
have
of failure in the playoffs the last few years. So I
mostly
think
in the second
the
round
Bruins
too.
obviously, yeah. So they're trying to
So
right a ship. And it would be an interesting series if Florida does move on because
you
it's
mean
not
when?
guaranteed.
You
No,
mean
it's
when?
if. It's still if as of right now.
No, it is not.
It's still if.
Yeah,
We will
yeah,
get to that. We'll get to that at the end.
yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I mean, the obvious thing they've just had the Devils. I feel like they're gonna have so much success given in a year or two, especially because Jack Hughes is ridiculous. He's
He's been
actually.
great,
It just
unexpectedly
sucks because
great.
honestly, I wish that they got a little extra help from some of their depth.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason why they're losing this series because it's mostly been that top line doing all the heavy lifting and the depths kind of going silent on them. I
The
mean,
depth's gone dead silent.
they had a little bit of that in the Rangers series. I think their stars kind of dug them out of that one, but at the same time, you need more from your bottom six because like the top six is doing everything. Bottom six is just
Yeah.
they've been somewhat impactful, but they haven't done enough to keep the puck out of their net when they've been on the ice, especially in the game that was going on earlier. Like they just haven't done enough. They're getting caved in.
No. It's been brutal. So it's not over yet, the series, but it's not looking good for Devils.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't be too worried as long as they don't go the same route as they did last time they made the playoffs, which was just do dumb moves.
I mean, in their defense, they were playing Tampa, and Tampa that year was also a wagon.
I meant they would do things like bring in Wayne Simmons, among other
Yeah.
things.
I mean, the Devils, like, I think keep as many of the guys as you can because, like,
Yeah.
all of them are young. Um, they'll get there eventually. I think they will. I
Do they
don't
keep
have any
Timo Meyer, you
reason.
think?
I think they do. Yeah, you don't make that trade unless you plan on keeping him. So I think they do. I think they sign him to
Okay.
a bridge deal, but I think they keep him.
Okay. I guess that's the last main thing I had on that series because it's been
Yeah.
very uneventful. I'm kind of going from uneventful to most eventful, but I guess that's
Yeah.
not true because of what we're talking about last.
Yeah, I mean it is eventful because of just how big of a deal people made it, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
I guess let's go to the next series, the only the series that doesn't involve the two of us, which is the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, I guess it will potentially to me if things go
Yeah.
right, but it's still got a long way.
Yeah, it's a long series.
Vegas caved and I mean brutalized Edmonton
I know.
5-1. I watched that game and it was ugly.
I think so far all the games have been ugly because haven't all of the games ended in 5-1?
Let me check the score. No, game one was 6-4. That game was actually really good. That game
Okay,
was really
okay.
good. Game one was really good. Game two was 5-1
Oh yeah, it was
to
6-4
to
because Draisaitl
Oilers
scored 4 goals.
and lost.
Yeah, yeah, it happened twice in a week. Pavelski did it, and then Draisaitl did it the next night.
Oh my god, it was. I
Yeah,
forgot
it
about
was.
that. Oh, we'll talk
Yeah,
about that in a minute. That was really funny.
dude. They pulled a Matthews on that one.
No.
Score 4 goals and still managed to lose the game.
I think they owe him a few meals. The team
They
owes
owe
him a few meals.
Draisaitl, dude. If the Oilers end up winning the cup, they should give Draisaitl like 20 rings and McDavid the other like four.
They should give 3 weeks of Draisaitl with just a cup on his own. Like honestly,
Yeah, yeah. Days with the cup. Draisaitl gets like 3 weeks.
weeks,
I agree. I agree with that.
possibly a month. Like yeah, but
Yeah.
no. Honestly, I give Vegas a lot. I hate Vegas. You know my opinions on Vegas. They're low, and I hate their guts. But they honestly are one of the most complete teams. I'll say, and I was very low on them. I was very low on them going to the playoffs. Part of that
Yeah.
was bias, but part of it was also because their goaltending has been brutalized with injuries. We speaking of that, this win came at a cost.
Ooh.
Laurent Brossoit went down. I forget with what. I don't remember.
It might have been, I think it was an issue with his groin or something.
It
I
was
don't remember
something.
exactly
I want to
what.
say it
Yeah.
was a groin issue, and they had to bring in Aiden Hill. And if I'm looking
Ooh.
at the roster correctly, let me just double check. Their goalies are they have three actually. They have Aiden Hill, Jonathan Quick, Jiri Patera.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, meaning they're
So
probably gonna have to start Aiden Hill going forward.
I mean,
You have to start
Aiden
Aiden
Hill
Hill. You
or
cannot start Jonathan Quick. You
I don't know
cannot
about
start
that
Jonathan
because
Quick.
last year with the Kings, Jonathan Quick had a really good series. He almost stole it for him.
Maybe, but at the same
So
time,
I don't
I
know.
cannot trust him.
Yeah,
Not
I
this year.
mean,
He's been
yeah,
horrendous.
he hasn't had a good year this year. I mean, it depends on, I think it depends with any goalie, especially ones with like average to below average. It depends on the defense in front of you. But
Uh, we'll get to that in a minute with my
like I
series.
said earlier, you ride the hot goalie, you ride the hot hand. You got to do it.
And like I said, credit Aiden, he'll put up a shutout.
Yeah, he did.
They've had so much good depth. Like these fans crying in shades of Michael Amadio.
We have a lot more to cry about than that, man.
Yeah, but
I don't think a bottom six forward is what we're crying about right
I
now.
know. It's just another thing.
Eventually, it's just another thing to like stack onto it, you know.
I know. But they've had like so much good depth. I mean, Jack Eichel's still an unbelievable beast. No one ever talked
Yeah.
about Chandler Stevenson enough.
Chandler Stevenson is one of the he reminds me a lot of Barkov in terms of how underrated he
Mm-hmm.
is.
I remember
He's
back when he was with the Caps and he was crazy
he was
good.
great. He's been
He
good
was
for a long time. It's just
yeah,
I think until he got to Vegas, he was always like a bottom six to middle six guy. With
yeah.
Vegas, like his skill shows a lot more because there was a short period of time where he was their number one center. Like he's great.
That and the Barbashev trade worked out immensely for them. He's been huge
Yeah.
for them in the series,
I think
which
all of Vegas's moves have been very beneficial for them in the postseason. I
was
think
the
all of their
first year
guys
they
have stepped
decided not
up
to go all in and be the
because
annoying gambler spenders that
yeah,
they have. They went light with the guys like Barbashev. I think they got one other guy.
they got Barbashev, Teddy Bluger, and
Bluger, yep,
Jonathan
that was
Quick.
the other one. Yeah,
But
and Quick.
like I think Vegas finally found out the hard way with the amount of salary they had to shed where you can't go after these big name guys. And sometimes it doesn't even really work out all the time because
Can't pull
all
it
the
dad enough.
yeah, because all of these big name guys you have, all of them are going to want the puck more and be like, the game runs through me. Which,
Mhm.
if you look at some of these other teams with a ton of stars, like you can't really work like that because you need to
Mhm.
have role player guys who know their role and who will work hard. It's that sort of thing. Like if you have too many star players, I mean, it's almost too much of a good thing. It's really too much of a good thing because you have too many guys wanting to drive that play, wanting to be the hero, wanting to be like, hey,
Yeah.
everyone spotlight's on me, but you can't have that.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. And I think that could be the Oilers' downfall
I mean,
because it's that and then here's everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, Dreisaitl's clearly been like top player in all the playoffs. McDavid, I mean, I'm giving McDavid a pass because like you saw his regular season point total. It was like 153 or something like that.
It was
He's
the first time since
clearly,
Mario Lemieux.
yeah, he's clearly playing injured. It's like Draisaitl last year in the playoffs. Like he's clearly playing injured. And even though he's playing injured, he's still one of the best players on the ice. Like it's crazy. I think the
Yeah,
reason why Draisaitl is getting so many of these scoring chances is because Vegas is like, oh shit, that's Connor McDavid. I
you
need to
gotta shut
cover
him
him.
down.
But Leon Draisaitl's over here like, oh, I'm ready for a one timer. Give it to me. Like he's just torching them. They both are.
And that's the other issue as well, because it's like you got those main two, and they've been unbelievable.
Yep.
Like they've both been unbelievably good. But then the other two pieces that have helped make Edmonton as scary as they are aren't showing. I mean, Hyman has been getting better through the series. I will give him that.
Yeah.
Nugent Hopkins has done little to nothing. He has no goals through 9 games. That's
Because
not
he's
good for a
not
guy like him.
because he's not playing with McDavid and
No,
Draisaitl. They have McDavid and Draisaitl out there together almost every second of every game.
let's say
And
who are they pairing him with?
I think he's gotten like a couple of minutes with Draisaitl each night during the
They're
regular
playing him
season.
with Kane.
Yeah. I
They're
mean,
playing Vander Kane with them.
if I'm the Oilers, if you want to turn on the high octane offense, I would do McDavid, Draisaitl, Evander Kane, especially with how Vegas has been playing against them because Vegas has been scoring goals in bunches in their wins. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to combat that, because Vegas has scoring up and down the lineup, like it hasn't just been one guy. Um, Edmonton, if you're gonna fight that, you have the talent to do it potentially. Like
I
load
feel like
up
they
your
need to put Hyman with those two.
they have yeah, it's either Hyman or Evander Kane. It's one of the two.
It has to be
Give
Hyman because I think you need
yeah,
someone who's going to annoy him. Because, like I said, you got Draisaitl, you have McDavid, you got two guys who can do just about anything and everything on the ice.
yeah.
And with guys who are especially as talented as them, can make a lot of amazing and like one in a million passes that they can only do.
All you
You
gotta do
need
is get
someone
your
like
stick
Zach
on the
Hyman.
ice.
Yeah, you need someone right in front of the goal. Kane is not that in my eyes. He's not in my eyes.
Nah, not this season. Last season he was very good at it. He was
Yeah,
great with Draisaitl last season. But
but
I
you
agree
need
on
Zach Hyman
Hyman.
with that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree on
Put
that.
Kane with Nugent, it might get something going. Honestly,
I don't know because Nuge is very much, especially in his career now, he's been kind of a complimentary piece. Like he has the speed to keep up, but he doesn't necessarily have like the shot to wow you, if that makes sense. Like he's
I
very
agree.
much like, hey, I have my stick on the ice. If you get it to me, I'll bury it. But he doesn't drive the play himself. And I think that's the Oilers' main problem. They have like two guys who drive the play themselves on 5-on-5. And then maybe you can throw in Evan Bouchard on the power play because he's been a
Yeah,
monster on the power play. But 5-on-5, he's been kind of iffy. And that's been the story all year. Like the Oilers, you give them a power play,
they're
they have one of the
unstoppable.
best power plays of all time. Like you can't stop it. It's pretty much like Tampa for the last couple of years, but 5-on-5, they've just been kind of non-existent other than Draisaitl in game one. Other than that, hasn't really been there.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, he put up 4 goals and they
Yeah.
lost that game
Yeah. Because he was the only one that
by
showed up.
2.
Yeah.
That's yeah, no. All the
Hard
depth
to do.
moves they made just haven't worked. Like Nick Buzek has been a freaking ghost through most of the series.
Uh Bukestad, I mean, he was very much a guy who might get you a couple of goals. He's a fourth liner. I mean, he could get you a couple of goals, maybe, but he was there to just bring the physical presence. But
Yeah,
you
it's just
just
not
need
worked at
more out
all.
of it. You just need more out of him. You do. Like if you get a run like that with McDavid and Draisaitl, the reason why the Oilers haven't been all that successful is one, the goaltending, like the
The goaltending has
Campbell
been kind of
signing,
shocking.
the Jack Campbell signing, very underratedly bad signing this offseason. Stuart Skinner was good in the regular season. These
He's
playoffs,
been
he has a
bad in the playoffs.
sub 900.
Yeah.
Um, their defense has been subpar to be nice to them. It hasn't been that great. I mean, it's
No, it's
really
been
the
horrendous.
Oilers. Their game plan is basically McDavid and Draisaitl. The rest of you hope and pray that a puck goes off of you and goes
Yeah.
in.
Personally, at this point, they have to do something. One, I think Darnell Nurse has to get dropped for pairings. He has been bad.
Yeah.
He's been
Put him
very
put him on the
bad.
second pairing. Like
And
he's
second,
not a top guy.
and second, they need to take Cody Cece out of the lineup. I don't know
Good
why they
luck with
keep playing
that.
him. He sucks. He's
There's like no
actually
one behind
useless.
him. There's no one behind him.
You have to try someone else. You have to try Brent Kulak,
Yeah,
Bromberg. You have to try something. CC is actually unusable. He's horrid.
maybe Brett Kulak. I mean,
You have to try. You cannot
Kulak's
keep
a
using
power play
CC
specialist too, because like CC, it's a very similar problem to what the Maple Leafs are
with
doing
Justin Hall.
with Justin Hall,
It's literally
because
that.
like you have Justin Hall who's great on the penalty kill, but 5-on-5 he's god awful. But after that, you have Eric Gustafson who's great offensively, terrible
Yeah, not
defensively.
great
So like
defensively.
you can't really do anything about it. It's just with this sort of thing. Like Cody Cece is decent defensively, but offensively he's not great. And even like what he makes up for in defense, it's just not there.
No, he's
Like
always been someone I've always wondered how he's stayed in the league as long as he has.
maybe do the 7-11 setup, 7D11 forwards, try to get Cody Cece
They
off the
did that.
ice. Yeah,
They did
that's
that last game, and they got pumped 5-1. He
yeah,
was a -3, and I
yeah.
remember watching two of those goals go in, and I'm sitting there scratching my head like, what is he actually doing? And this is coming from a
It's
Kraken fan,
yeah.
and it's so painful watching Cody Cece play. I remember he was bad with the Sens.
He's
Leafs
been
fans
bad
wanted to
everywhere he's
probably
gone.
Leafs fans want to forget that he ever played for them. Was it 1 or 2 seasons? I forget.
It was one and a
It was
half seasons
one.
with the Leafs, and then he went to the Penguins, had a decent season there, and then got this contract with Edmonton.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
And the reason why he had a good season with the Penguins is because back before this year,
was the
every single
third
player
pair.
the Penguins signed turned out to have a career year every time without fail.
Wasn't he
Like,
also on the third pair there as well?
yeah, yeah. But he
Yeah,
did good enough to get that contract. And like the Oilers, man, like they're just they just have too many defensive flaws. Like they're trying to be like the Avs last season and trying to do what the Leafs are attempting and failing at. They're trying to outscore their problems, but at a
you can't
certain
do it.
point, if you have a team against you that can score just as good as you, you're done.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on that, especially
Yeah.
because the depth's been better for Vegas.
Yeah.
Defensively, like I said, and I hate Vegas. I wouldn't want to face a defense with Alec Martinez, Brady McNabb, Alec Petrangelo, and Shea Theodore. I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Because
I
those guys
definitely
are good
wouldn't.
defensively and they'll punch you in the mouth. Like they're not
Mhm.
fun to play against.
And even the last two is Zach Whitecloud and Nick Hague. I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
deal with those two. That's a top six of just scary, scary ass
Big,
defensemen. Like
big
I'm terrified of
meanies.
Brady McNabb if we do face him. He is probably the scariest face on Vegas's defense. He can put
Alex
up points and
Petrangelo is
punch you in the
scary
face.
too.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Alex Petrangelo is underratedly scary because he's a big meanie and he'll score on your ass. Like he's a really good guy. Hasn't missed a step since winning the cup with the Blues. Like he's been
Blues
great.
Blues fans crying internally right
I
here.
don't know because I think the Blues are in relatively good shape because they realized that they weren't doing great and they sold the ship early. Like they
Yeah,
got so many picks
I
for
will give him
that.
that.
Like their rebuild is going to be quick. Not
Mm-hmm.
as quick as the Rangers, but I think the Rangers are kind of regretting rushing the rebuild because like, oh boy,
Has it worked out? Yeah,
it
we
hasn't worked out.
and
Like,
a good off season topic we will definitely discuss
yeah,
because that would be, oh my god, we're gonna have
they
some
have
good teams to talk about during the off season.
there are a lot that need to do.
Soul
There's
searching.
potentially like 5 or 6 teams that either need to
Both New York
sell
teams
everything.
are a good answer.
I think the
Pittsburgh,
Islanders are on their way up. Islanders are on their way up, but they need to do a lot. The Rangers, yeah, because you got to figure out Capo Caco and Alexi
Lafreniere,
Lafreniere. The Penguins, because which direction are you gonna go? Are you gonna try to salvage things, or are you just gonna let things go?
Calgary, obviously,
Calgary for sure,
the
because they fired their
Canucks,
GM. Canucks,
and the Preds. I'd say as well.
Preds,
I feel like the Preds can't after signing Forsberg. You can't at this
nope.
point. So
There's
I think they're
there's
gonna have
another
to buy.
team. There's another team if they lose on Wednesday that is going to be very active in the offseason.
You think it's Toronto?
Oh yeah, I'll
We
get
will.
to it. I'll get to
I
it, but
guess let's go to my series. I
yeah,
guess
yeah. Like this is one of those series where like
It's been very weird.
I would like to say I'm surprised that Seattle is playing as well as they are, but I'm
It's been the
I'm
tightest
not.
series easily,
Yeah. But
which is the sad thing.
I'm actually not surprised that Seattle's doing as well as they have been. I'm not.
I'm a little surprised for two reasons. One, Grubauer doesn't suck, and that's a
Yeah.
first I've seen in 2 years.
Yeah.
And two, the last game.
Dude, the Kraken, like that game
That
was
game made
so
no
tight
sense.
until the Kraken were like, all right, I'm kicking ass now.
Yeah, they said, oh, here's one goal, here's 2 goals, here's 3 goals, here's 4, here's 5. It's 5-1 at the end of the second. I'm sitting there like, I'm just like,
I
my
was
mouth dropped. I'm like, what is going on?
I was just like walking around the house. I was writing some stuff for another project that I'm working on. And I'm like typing some stuff. I look up and I hear Seattle's goal horn ring like 3 times in 2 minutes. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I look up and it's 5-1. I'm like,
I
this game
couldn't
was
believe it.
literally 1-1 at the start of the second period. Like it was
Wow,
crazy.
you know what's the craziest thing about that game as well? All 7 goals were scored by 7 different players. The most points were 2.
Oh my God.
The most points were 2 by Justin Schultz, LV Tolvanen, Alex Wemberg, and Matty Beniers.
Dude, I think this is why Seattle's so dangerous because it's not like it's the exact opposite way the Oilers are scoring. It's not just one guy. You guys are getting goals from literally up and down the lineup. Like I think that's what makes you guys so dangerous.
Yeah,
It's
that's what's
almost
crazy.
it's almost impossible to stop because you got like, hey, first line scoring, hey, second line scoring, third line scoring, fourth
Here's the
line. Like
fourth line.
you can't shut it down. You
I
can't.
have Here's a fun fact. I looked through Seattle's defense. I mean, it's through Seattle's entire the lineup they've played through the postseason. Save for Jesper Froden, who's played 1 game.
Yeah.
The only people who haven't scored a goal that aren't the goalie is Jared McCann, who's missed a bunch of time from
Yeah.
the concussion. He only played 4 games. Adam Larson and Ryan Donato. That's it.
Yeah,
Everybody
but
else has 1 goal.
Larson and Donato are defensive players, so
Those are the only people who have
oh
not scored.
my God.
Everybody else has a goal.
What's
Elysiak has a goal. Tanev has a goal. Carson Soucy has a goal.
what's Larson's plus minus? I'm curious.
-2.
Honestly,
Still not great minus.
for the year he's had, that's not bad.
You know who has been amazing through the playoffs?
Vince
Justin
Dunn,
Schultz. Justin Schultz.
Vince Dunn, Justin Schultz. You can name anyone who's been great.
Yanni
Jordan
Gord.
Eberle,
Oh my God.
Yanni
Gord's a
Gord.
god.
Yeah, like Eberle, Yanni Gord. Is
I have to
McCann
send
playing right
10.
now? Is McCann still out?
He's still out from what I
Okay.
know.
But like
But
if
I
you
think
guys get him
he's
back,
skating again. He's skating again. I think if we were to make it to the third round, he should be there, but I don't think he'll play the rest of the Star Series unless it goes to 7. He might be in for Game 7. That's it.
Dude, if you guys get McCann back,
It'd be huge.
oh my God.
The only thing is, I don't know who they take out. I feel like it'd have to be Donato at that point, but
Probably since he doesn't have a goal. I mean, yeah, because
he's our
McCann's a
fourth
40
line
goal
center.
scorer. McCann's a
He's our
40 goal
fourth line
scorer,
center,
so
yeah.
like you need to put a guy like that in. You don't hold
We
out a
need him
40
with-
goal scorer.
Oh, no, you can't.
Yeah.
It's a non-option.
Yeah,
But
like you need to put him in.
like after this playoff, they can't take out Ty Hardy. I watched him play.
No,
They
you
can't.
can't.
He's like the
Guy-
Matthew Nyes for Seattle, 100%.
He's Matthew Nyes with a little bit more experience. Like he won the AHL MVP, and I think like that experience alone is just like I watched Ty Cartier out there.
He's
He
a
looks
half
like
a point a game player for
he looks like
the
he's been doing it
playoffs.
for
That's
years.
insane.
He
He
looks
makes
like
no
he's
sense.
yeah, he looks like he's been doing it for years. Like monster. Like
He's 22 as well.
all of these Seattle players just look comfortable.
Mhm.
Like not a single one of them like it's just a total team effort every time. Not one person is pressured like, "Hey, I have all the spotlight on me. I need to score in this moment. I need to earn my keep. I need to earn this big contract." Like no.
Yeah,
All
I
of
guess
them
that's
are
the
just
good thing with Seattle right now. We don't have that pressure.
yeah.
I guess because the closest one is probably McCann because he re-signed the deal last season
But even
and
then,
put up the 40 goals.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
even then, I don't think you guys have a ton of pressure on you. First
No.
playoff appearance, and you guys are doing this already.
Yeah, like I said, I last night didn't feel. I was really sitting with my parents, celebrating with my family's birthday, and I just felt one buzz, two buzz, three buzz, four
Yeah,
buzz. I'm like, what
yeah,
is happening? And I look at my phone, and I see it's 4-0 in the span of like 5 minutes.
they're crazy.
I'm like, how? We were getting
Dude,
shelled in the first period.
they're
Bro,
crazy, man.
Jake O got shelled.
That's the first time I've seen Jake
Oh my
Ottinger get
god.
shelled in a long time. And
It was only 17
honestly,
shots, but it looked like a million in my head
a
watching
lot
him.
of the goals weren't his fault. It's just like the stars in front of him just they
Oh,
looked
the
like they
deep.
were puck watching and they were mesmerized the entire time. And I don't blame them. They were
I
buzzing
just
out
want to.
there.
I want to give a gift basket to Ryan Suter. Like
Yeah. Like
he
it
was so
literally
bad
looked like,
he was so bad that game.
well, because you guys during the second period, it was like down low to the point, shot tipped every time. I'm like,
Yeah,
you couldn't react to it. Like they were just buzzing.
it's
They were
unbelievable.
clicking on all cylinders. Like it was
And that playoff
crazy.
atmosphere in Seattle was crazy.
You guys have one of the best home crowds already, and it's only going to get better.
Oh my god! And like I said, next year we could have a whole year of Ty Cardi
Yeah.
and Shane Wright.
Dude, and
I don't know if I'm mentally ready for next year.
you're doing this all without Shane Wright too. Like
Yeah,
you
he's
guys
played. I
are
think all of 5
five
games.
games, I
I think
think.
he played 5, and
Oh
got a
my
point,
God.
and they sent him down for the whole season, which I think was the right call. But
Yeah, it was. Like,
I'm sorry, it's crazy. But no, Grubauer. I guess let me highlight what's his number. They haven't been amazing, but
they've
the
been good enough.
918. Considering the fact he has not put up a 900 save percentage ever in Seattle, the fact it's over 900 just
Yeah.
makes me want to smile. And that Martin
Seattle
Jones has not
scores.
touched the ice is the other thing.
Yeah. Seattle scores so much that like all you guys really need is a like 900 goaltending performance and you're set.
And
You're
we're getting
fine.
it. We're
Yeah.
getting more than that.
You're getting better than that. Like
He's actually
that's
putting
what
up
makes you
decent
guys
numbers.
so scary. That's what makes them so scary.
Ray
Everyone's
Grubauer does not get
scoring.
injured.
Everyone's scoring, and Grubauer's given him a better performance than he's given in a long time.
Like that, like he's putting up Av numbers.
Yeah.
Like I said, as long as Martin Jones does not touch the ice, I feel confident. If
Yeah.
he touches the ice, I cry. Like I
Yeah.
cry.
I agree. I agree. Let's hope that they keep him healthy. Like just keep it rolling, man. That's all you got to do.
Don't get injured. Now
Yeah.
now it's time, ladies
So
and gentlemen. It's our time for our favorite section of the video. It's time for the therapy session here. Our first one ever on the show. Hi, I'm your therapist. I'm your therapist, Dr. Firma. Tell me what the problem is.
there's a massive problem. Massive problem, you know? I mean, team I've been cheering for a long time finally gets over the hump. Gets over the hump, whatever. One round. They win a round, right? First time since I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
And everyone is just like, wouldn't it be so funny if they won a round and then they got swept by Boston or Florida?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be so funny? And here they sit down 3-0. And here's the thing. The games, I don't want to hear like I keep seeing like Leafs have this like deserve to win-o-meter or whatever the hell it is.
That is stupid. I stand
It's
by
like
that.
the deserve
I've
to
seen it on Twitter.
win-o-meter, the Leafs are like winning like 70 to 80% of the time. Like the Leafs are outplaying the No, they are not.
Stats like that and expected goals. I hate those stats so
Dude,
much.
expected by who? Like seriously, like it's
Like
it's
there's
one
over
of
under, I get it. It's one thing to do over under. It's another thing to put a stat like that and think it's
yeah.
legitimate. But
Yeah.
no, I know
But
what you mean.
if you're actually sitting down and watching these games, you can't tell me the Leafs have been outplaying the Panthers. You can't. Like the fact that David Kampf and Eric Gustafson in a must-win game were the Leafs leaders in shot attempts and shots on goal.
You said Kampf and Gustafson?
Kampf and Gustafson, not Matthews, not Marner, not
In all 3
Tavares.
games. In all 3 games.
Not in all 3 games. Game 3, the one they had
3.
to win in Florida. Like you can cry Samsonov got hurt and everything, like fine, like go ahead, but you cannot win a series without your best player showing up. Do you know how many goals Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares have in this series? Zero. None.
All
They have
four.
none. All four of them, zero. So it's like they haven't lost yet.
They've had
So
6 goals, and none of them have been them.
none of them.
What?
Not a
Michael
single
Bunting,
one.
Matthew Nyes, Alex
Like, dude,
Kerfoot, Ryan O'Reilly, and then it was Sam Lafferty and
yeah.
Eric Gus. Oh my God, what?
Like here, I can't really talk about
That's
what they
bad.
should do in the offseason because they haven't lost yet. But if
Is this
they
worst case
lose,
scenario?
this is probably worst case scenario for them winning the round. Because, like, here's the thing. If you win a round and go out the next series and lose in like 6 or 7, it's at least a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like, you got the second round experience, you can use it for whatever you need to. If you go out and get swept in the second round, it means jack shit. It doesn't mean
It,
anything.
I feel like it wouldn't have been that bad if it was Boston. I know probably
It
more
still would have been
humiliating,
bad. It still would have been bad
but I think it's much worse
because, like,
that it's Florida who humiliated
Florida,
Boston. Probably shouldn't have gone
yeah,
on if we're being honest.
no.
But Boston just shat their pants for 3 straight games.
Florida just went out and took it, and they've been doing the same thing ever since. Like it's just this is not me saying Florida's a bad team because they are very not a bad team. They will go out there, they're scrappy, they'll punch you in the face. They do not give a shit if they take a penalty because they'll
No,
punch you again. It's like, oh, we took a penalty. I don't give a shit. We'll punch you again. Like,
no, because they're the most penalized team in the
yeah,
league for a
and
reason.
they are still kicking the Leafs ass because like here's the thing, here's why I think the Panthers are doing so well in this series. While the Panthers haven't had the puck that much in this series, like time possession's been like crazy lopsided for the Maple Leafs in this series.
Hmm.
The Panthers only need one chance to make you pay. They need one. They did it against Boston in games 5 through 7, and they're doing
Hmm.
against Leafs in games
Especially
1 through 3.
they did it a lot in 6. I remember.
Yeah, they did it. Game 6, they should have lost, but like every single time they got the puck from the Bruins after a mistake, back of the net every time. Like
Hmm.
that's why they're doing so good because you make one mistake, it's in your net. Like the Leafs have been doing it. Like the worst example from this series. So Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are on a breakout. They're at their own blue line. Matthews is just twiddling with the thing, not knowing what to do with it, and tries to do a lazy lob pass. Banks off of Anthony Duclair, skates it in, and scores.
Oh,
Carter Verhaeghe, just off of a broken play that they should have had, breakaway scores. That's game winners for games 1 and 2.
hmm.
And then in game 3, like this isn't Joseph Wall's fault. Like he stood on his head, like he came in on a terrible situation. But the entire lineup, the entire defense, and the center falls asleep and just allows the wraparound. Like it's a combination of the Leafs just in my opinion, they're being outplayed. I don't give a rat's ass about the deserve to win meter. It means nothing. They've just been getting outplayed when it matters. That's all it is. Like it doesn't matter if you have the puck for 59 of 60 minutes. If the Panthers get the puck and just don't make mistakes, you're not going to win. You're not. They're not matching
Yeah.
the intensity. They're not matching the heart. They're not matching anything it takes to win. Like they won the series against Tampa like what, 9 days ago? And we're sitting here now talking like it never happened because it might as well have not have. They've been so bad. Like people are saying that like the Montreal series is the worst one. I don't think so. Like I can't talk like what they should do in the offseason. Like I'm kind of tempted to if they get swept, like I guess I'll go into hypotheticals. Like if they get swept, I don't think there's a single future where you have Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Nylander on your team.
You think
One of them
one
is going.
goes?
One of them is going. And
I, you know who I think it would be? I'm just gonna throw it out there as a
who?
guess.
You
Nylander. Have to be. In
I
my
don't
opinion, I
think
think it'd have to be.
I don't think it's him.
You can't get rid of Matthews. They're not getting rid of John Tavares after winning the series. I don't believe it.
Dude,
I don't believe it.
dude, I might get crucified for saying this. I might.
It's either Marner or Nylander.
Matthews has 1 year left on his contract.
No way they move on from that.
He
Would be
has
the
1 year left on
craziest.
his contract. This is a what have you done for me lately league. I don't give a fuck what he did in the first round. This second round series has been the worst I've seen him play ever in his career.
Really?
It's been uninspired. It's just been lackadaisical, lazy. He hasn't
I
done
think they bench
anything.
him. I think they should bench him for game 4. Not like take him out, but like reduce the playing time, you think?
Dude, I like because here's the thing. Mitch
You
Marner
really
was their
can.
best player this season, like by far. Best player of the season by far.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews, he's been injured, sure. But dude, I don't understand how you go from a world beater making elite plays against Tampa to just being a human fart in the second round. He's done nothing. He's
That's
made
bad.
more turnovers that's cost them games than shots on goal. It's been terrible.
Jeez.
Like, I hate being this harsh on him, and like maybe they turn around. It's a sharp maybe. Like, if I'm the Leafs, if you can get a lot of value for him, he's on a bridge deal. If the price is right, if you can get like two elite players for the price of one, I might do it. They've lost with this core, they can lose without him. Like, I'm at
Like
the
you
point.
thinking like something like I guess the best way I can describe it, the Jack Eichel trade traded Eichel for it was Alex Tuck and fuck, it was someone else.
Alex Tuck, Peyton Krebs,
Payne Krebs, that
and
was one I was trying to
yeah,
remember.
someone else was in that deal, but like I'm
Ellie
thinking
Miller? No.
more. I'm thinking
Or
more.
I
Even
don't
though this
know.
trade hasn't necessarily worked out, like Pierre-Luc Dubois for Patrick Laine,
That
like
trade hasn't worked on either.
it hasn't worked on either. But like if you can find someone who's like
Or
just
like
as
Matthew could check for
yeah, like
Huberdeau
Matthew
and Weegar,
Tkachuk
even
for
though it
yeah,
didn't work out.
yeah, like I might do it, man. I might.
That feels crazy to me because it's one of those things where it's like he's the one I just don't feel like they could because it almost means like everything they work towards really means nothing because they put that awful season out on the ice for him.
But here's the thing. What if they work towards exactly?
A lot of first round losses, unfortunately.
Like that's my point. Like what if they work towards? It's not like they've been taking steps. It's really not. Like you won a series against a Tampa team who was beat to hell. Like and then you face a team that is hungry, which the Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967 and you mean to tell me the Florida Panthers are more hungry than them to win a cup? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
I couldn't believe that. No, I
Like
can't.
I get so angry about this and I get so like passionate about this because I know how much better they can be doing. Like I don't know if it's a get rid of a player thing. Like I think I'm just saying that because I'm angry, but I don't know if this is a get rid of the core thing or just Dubas and Sheldon Keefe goodbye. I think you start with Sheldon Keefe, honestly, because he's been out coached in every single playoff series he's been in ever.
Are you counting the one with John Cooper that they
Yes,
still won?
the Leafs have one regulation win in these playoffs. Like that's all you need to know. They won seven
Seriously?
to two against Tampa Bay in game two. The rest of their wins have been overtime wins. That's it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where like you gotta restart at some point. If you can't do it, you might have to move on because you traded all
Yeah.
those picks for Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari. You traded
Well,
all
think
those
about all of
picks
them.
for Jake McCabe
McCabe,
and Sam
Gustafson. Look at all of
Lafferty,
that.
and
Look at
then
how
you
much
trade
they go
another
for
pick for Luke
and
Shen.
oh yeah. But think about also all the picks and players they gave up for Gustafson.
Yeah,
They gave Sandine as much
they
as
traded
Sandine was a
Rasmus Sandin, man.
yeah.
Why in
It was
the
an all
hell?
it was an all in year.
Like, why would you trade Sandine instead of Justin Hall? That makes no
They were
sense.
not going to take Justin Hall. As
But
much as I
like,
hate saying that.
you didn't need to do it. It's a
Yeah,
good
that was a
story.
confusing one. That was a
It's a good
confusing.
it's a good story if you're gonna bring back Luke Shen. Like, I didn't mind it, but you didn't need to get rid of Sandine. You mean to tell me they couldn't have used the help in this series?
Yeah, I can't. And
Like,
here's my reasoning. I think I definitely could see Kyle Dubas getting outed if they do get swept.
I
I think
think he's
here's
outed no matter what.
you
If they lose
think
it in 4 or 5, I think he's outed no matter what.
they'd have to make it 6 for him to possibly keep his
They'd
job
have to make a comeback to Game 7. I think Sheldon Keefe loses his job regardless.
unless they win the series. That's
But like,
craziest best case scenario how since they win the
dude,
series. Yeah, no,
to
but
give you
I could agree with that.
to give you
Yeah.
an idea though, with how much of a long shot this is, 4 teams in the NHL's almost 125-year history have come back from a 3-0 deficit. The 1942 Leafs, the 1970, I think it was 1972 Islanders, the
Mhm.
2010 Flyers, and the 2014 Kings. That's it.
I only know one of those. I know the Kings. Which one's the Flyers?
The Flyers was 2010 against the Bruins. But then the Bruins came back the next year and swept the
LOL.
Flyers into oblivion on the way to the cup.
LOL Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't
LOL
laugh at
Bruins.
anyone, dude. Like, I can't make jokes about any team. Like mine,
That's fair.
like the
I
Leafs
guess
fans complain about being the punchline of the league, but like they are.
they are.
Like, I don't
That's
know
the sad part.
how
Even if they avoid getting swept, they might avoid being the biggest meme of
to
still. But if they get swept, yeah, I could see them going back to being the biggest meme over Boston.
I think they are. Regardless, they are, because you make your fans wait 19 years for a playoff series and
And then
then
give them that.
you
Yeah,
do this?
that's pretty bad. I
Like,
guess,
I'm one of the most
yeah,
passionate hockey guys out there. I've thought about not even watching Game 4, if I'm being honest.
really.
They've been dead. Like, if they're not gonna put the effort in to try to win a game, like
I
I'm
could
not saying I'm done with
understand.
them. I'm not saying I'm done with them because I'm very not. But
It's like your name. You're just dead inside. You
yeah,
just can't take it.
you need to do something. Like, you can't do nothing like you've done the last couple of years. Like, you need to seriously evaluate your front office, your coaches, and the core.
Yeah. I guess to wrap it up, I got a few questions with that.
Yeah.
Um, I do agree with you 100%. If they lose a series, unless they get 7, Sheldon, yeah, I see. I didn't even think if they lose in 7,
If
Keith's
they
gone.
lose this series in any capacity, Heath is
Keith's
gone.
gone. Keith's gone. I agree with that
He's
100%.
gone.
I think they still keep doing this even if they get swept. That's a bold take, but I think they do. However, I do think a decent amount of that team is getting gutted. Like, one, I think, I mean, obviously guys like Shen and all of them are going to be gone. Like
Yeah.
Lafferty, McCabe's got to go.
Yeah.
That was a terrible mistake.
McCabe,
It was the right idea.
ironically,
It's been awful.
I don't think McCabe's been all that bad.
He was dog. He's been dog shit in this Florida series. The
He
moments I've seen,
has, but in my opinion, he's kind of what the Leafs need in the future, because you
you
have these
think.
guys like Justin Hall who's mid defensively and terrible offensively. Jake McCabe at least does something good. He does one of the two things good more often than not.
I guess.
Like, if
But I
I'm
know
constructing this team next year, I do everything in my power to try to get Ryan O'Reilly to stay.
you have to keep O'Reilly. And I think
You got to
personally,
try.
Tavares and Marner need to stay still. I believe that.
I think Tavares and Marner stay. You got to figure out what you're doing with Nylander and
I think they
Matthews.
have to move on from Nylander. And here's my opinion. Austin Matthews been bad from the things I've heard and
He's been
seen
terrible.
online. Nylander's been equally as dog shit.
Nylander's been arguably worse.
And that's the
because
other thing. It's more
Matthews,
frustrating because I've talked about it, and I've seen a lot of clips from these fans. He's probably the most frustrating person ever. He's like insanely talented,
dude,
and then it's one of the laziest players at certain moments. And you can't have that. You just
he
can't.
reminds me a lot of Evgeny Malkin on the Penguins. Like when he's on his
Ooh,
game, he's one of the best players in the world, but when he's not, he's very not.
yeah,
Like
when he's bad, he's bad.
it's a very similar playing style. Like if when he's on his game, like he's that 40 goal scorer we all know that he can be, like he can control a game. He's insanely skilled, but when he's not on, he's incredibly lazy and he's so easy to defend when he just doesn't want to play. Like when he went to the bench the other night and gave one of these when he got frustrated, I'm like, dude,
And that's the reason I personally think
yeah,
to get rid of him over Matthews. And the other
yeah.
reason I give is this: of the four contracts, his is
It's the easiest to
easily the
move.
most to get out of. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's my reasoning for it. I think Aaron Matthews would be a crazy shakeup because it would mean to everybody you're not safe. But I personally think they
Yeah.
have to move on from him.
I mean,
He is the weakest link in my opinion
yeah.
on the entire team. I personally believe that.
Cause
Besides Justin Hall, Justin Hall is bad. He should not be back next
yeah.
year.
Cause I'm
But that
like,
goes without saying.
I'm wondering who you can get for Nylander is the thing. Like, cause like I don't want them to just trade him for a draft pick or something and be done with it, is
I'd say
my
get
thing.
depth. You need depth.
Like, I don't know. Cause like if you can use the savings from him on O'Reilly, I think it's okay. Um, like I might try to go out there and get another Michael Bunting type player who's feisty and who can score. I mean, there's my whole thing is there's not a lot of trade partners to go with. Like
Does
maybe
he have a
Clayton,
lot of
maybe Clayton Keller if you can work something out. I think that'd be
forget how much
decent.
his cap hit is, but I know it's
It's about
decent.
the
But
same. It's about the
what
same.
who's the other guy from Arizona? Schmaltz.
Uh, Nick Schmaltz, yeah. Like you need to, because like I said earlier, I think their problem is they have too much of a good thing. They have too many stars. They don't have a lot of guys who just know their role and do it well. Because like Pierre Engvall knew his role, but he didn't do it well. Like like try
That's
to
the same with Justin
bolster,
Hall.
yeah, try to bolster your bottom six as best you can.
You
And
have to.
like the Matthews thing, I think it's coming from me out of sheer frustration. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure I will feel different after a little while. Just
That's why I just think Nylander
I
is the biggest one.
expected so much more from Matthews this series, man, because he looked unstoppable against Tampa. And
I
now,
watched that series. Your whole team looked unstoppable for a lot of that
yeah,
series.
they lost everything that made them dangerous in the series. And
Well, it's not completely lights out. It's pretty close,
it's
unfortunately.
pretty dark. It's pretty dark. Like I said, only four teams have ever done it. You need to be the fifth team to do it. Like I if I'm the Leafs front office, maybe keep Dubas because he's been decent at drafting, but Sheldon Keefe, I don't think there is a single future where he's with the team.
The only way would be if they come all the way back and do it. That's the only
I
way.
I don't think he has it in him.
I
I
don't
don't.
think so either, but that's the only way he keeps
Yeah.
his job.
Like I really don't think he has it in him. Like I
That's rough.
my thing is like I don't know who his replacement would be.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of guys
It
out there.
that's what's frustrating though, because it felt like when he came in, it felt like such a big change, at least for me, like for me in the
Yeah.
terms of like hockey and coaching, because we all see the same cycle of guys.
Yeah.
The fucking numbnuts who's Peter DeBoer, Ron
Oh yeah, Peter
Hall,
DeBoer.
but he's doing well. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Well, it's his first year with
Or
Dallas,
Dave
so he's
Axel.
gonna yeah,
Yeah, him and Paul
like
Maurice and Rick Bonus and Jim Montgomery and like a bunch of other guys.
I'm
It's
trying to think of like who a replacement could be. Bruce Boudreau?
no,
I don't know. Like there's not
no.
a whole lot of guys out there. Hire from within.
You cannot hire Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah.
You already know how much of a meme you are.
Yeah.
Do you know how much of a meme he is?
Like I would say Dallas Eakins, but every single team he's
No,
coached has been a bottom feeder. So like you can't like
He is an awful coach. I will stand by that. He has single-handedly turned the Ducks into an embarrassment.
If the Penguins want to fire Mike Sullivan, make it snappy.
Yeah, that's the only one I could see if they picked up
Yeah,
Sully. But
but
outside of that, it's just rough. I guess
you can't.
that's all we can hope.
Yeah.
We got one last thing to talk about because I want to die. When I
This
sent you this, I was so mad. I
this
watched the Jordan
arguably,
Tree video and I wanted
yeah.
to just shoot myself. Like
Dude, this result honestly makes me just as mad as
God
Toronto
is
laying
dead.
laying as much of an egg as they have.
I'm convinced God is dead from
Dude,
this.
I,
So for anybody who doesn't know, the big player in the draft is Connor Bedard. Everybody, and I mean, let's look at some of the teams that were tanking: Anaheim, Columbus, the team that won it. We'll get to them in a minute.
dude,
Montreal was pretty bad. The Sharks
yeah.
were
The
terrible.
Sharks were terrible.
They were horrid. Arizona
Yeah.
should have been terrible, but then they decided, hey, let's win the end of the season for some
Yeah, let's
reason.
go on an 8-game winning streak because that's like a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I think the last loss was when they got pumped like 8-1
Yeah.
against Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
they lost 5 of their last 6 to end the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But they were like, let's go on a winning streak after the deadline to just screw up our position. But like, so I laughed so hard when Chicago beat Pittsburgh. I did. I really did.
Dude, and it
Solely
ended
because I
up,
was like, they screwed themselves. And then no,
no,
they got the number one pick.
dude,
I want to die. I don't even care they're not in the Pacific. It's not fair.
dude, after everything that organization got exposed for last offseason,
It's humiliating.
I think it's a problem with the NHL because I don't think under any circumstances after that came out that the Blackhawks should have had a first round pick.
If nothing else, they shouldn't have had a top 5 pick.
Like, you gotta punish them for something because the organization clearly did something wrong. Like, we criticize all of these sports leagues for just like not doing enough discipline for teams that like knowingly do something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But other leagues at least like do some form of penalty, like, hey, we're gonna take a pick here, we're gonna take a pick there. Like, you
Or
mean to tell me
like in the case, yeah.
the Arizona Coyotes got their first round pick taken away
Oh, because the
for
draft thing with John
for
Chayka.
working out prospects, but the Blackhawks get to keep
Yeah,
theirs after
for allowing
covering
that
up all of that shit? Are
for a
you kidding
decade.
me?
For a decade, mind you.
Yeah. Like,
Like I've
like,
seen
because here's the
harsher
thing.
penalties for the Miami Dolphins for
Yeah,
tampering on coaches. Did Montreal get in trouble for
they did.
tampering
It was a
with
while ago.
oh no.
PLD, Pierre-Luc
Was it
Dubois.
PLD?
It
That
might have
was
been
someone
like
on
a
the
third round
Canes.
pick. It was, I don't remember
That
what
was
it
someone on the
was.
Canes because like the
It
story
might have
was
been
it
Sebastian
happened.
Aho.
It
Sebastian
was
Aho.
Sebastian Aho. It was
Yeah.
Sebastian Aho because it was a big joke because the Carolina went around and then took
Yeah.
Kotkaniemi from
Yeah.
the Canadians. But
Like,
like, didn't they also get in trouble for doing that?
yeah.
Or no? I don't remember.
No, they didn't because it was an offer sheet.
I know.
But like, because like, here's the thing: I've been seeing a lot of things online that like the draft lottery is rigged and just all this stuff. I don't think the lottery is rigged. I really don't. I think it's just a genuine luck of the draw. My embarrassment to the
Shitty
league,
luck though.
my embarrassment to the league is you have this story that's still at the forefront of every hockey fan's mind when they hear the name Chicago Blackhawks, and you didn't
Mm-hmm.
punish them.
And unfortunately, it's just the case of I look at the bottom teams. You got the Sharks who are in this chasm,
Yeah.
and hopefully they figure it out. The
Yeah.
Ducks, God, they did not help their case with bringing in Dallas Aiken as their head coach.
Oh,
But
I
like
know.
those two at least can pray they have hope. But like if you look at the other teams, I guess the Blue Jackets will get better, most likely. Not certain, but they should.
They will. They have a lot of good guys in their system. I think they'll
But then
get
to
better.
highlight the other two teams that were pretty much in the bottom 5, Chicago and Arizona. I highlight these two
I
teams in
mean,
specific. You have Chicago, who
yeah,
should have been punished for all the crap that they did. I mean, that's actually ridiculous. They didn't. And then you have Arizona, who is honestly the Cleveland Browns of hockey. They're
yeah.
embarrassing to watch. They're playing at a fucking college stadium that I think it's 5,000.
It's
And I
like
don't even think
5,000.
they sell out games.
They're doing pretty well at Arizona State, but like I can't think of a single like professional sports league that can't sell out 5,000 seats. If you can't sell out 5,000 seats, move the team, which they should have done a long time ago. Like Halifax is sitting without a team, Quebec City sitting without a team, Houston
Atlanta.
sitting without a team, Atlanta sitting without a team.
Which
Like
was Houston? I forget.
how did Atlanta lose their team twice with decent attendance numbers, but the Coyotes have been a circus for like the last decade and they haven't been forced to move? I don't
Barry
understand.
Bettman and Manifest Destiny. That's why.
But you have like these expansion teams in Seattle and Vegas who've been doing great, but you keep the Coyotes there? There's so
It
many
just doesn't
good
make sense.
markets you can move this team to,
It
but they
just
won't.
doesn't make sense. Like even something like I don't even know, like just bring it back to Atlanta or something. I guess they
Bring
have to
another
keep it.
team to Canada.
They have to bring it to the West is the issue.
Yeah,
It has to be the West. Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. Yeah, that's another one.
Like
I don't
just
get it.
it
Portland.
just makes me scratch my yeah, you could get decent numbers in Portland. I don't know. But
Like they have an arena, the Blazers play there. Like,
that is true.
yeah.
It's so frustrating watching it as a fan because it's like a team that genuinely got they didn't even want to go in the rebuild. They got put in there kicking and screaming
Yep.
by fight or sending Stan Bowman packing and all
Yeah.
these things. But like
And
it's so
and they
frustrating.
sent Stan Bowman packing because of the cover-ups they did. It wasn't even because he was a terrible GM. It was because of
Yeah.
the cover-ups. That's all it was.
No, it's you're 100% right.
Like, how do you I still don't understand not punishing the Blackhawks at all. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because the other
I'm
embarrassment was
yeah.
last year during the draft when they were announcing their draft picks. They had like a bunch of cheerleaders around Stan Bowman when they made the pick 3 days after the report came out.
No, you're kidding.
No, you can look it up on YouTube. It was a real thing that happened. Like hockey is probably, in my
That's
opinion, hockey is the best
bad.
sport. In my opinion, hockey is the best sport, but it has the worst league, the absolute worst league. It's not even close. It makes WWE look authentic. It's terrible.
That's
Like,
crazy to me. What?
yeah,
How
like
did you said that was before or after?
it was after. It was 3 days after the report came
It was
out.
after they did this.
After it came out.
Oh my god.
So you harbor this piece of shit and go, hey, we're cool, right? They try to do so many PR moves that were so full of shit that like anyone with
Oh
a
yeah.
brain could have been like, I know what you're doing here. It's just
I talked about
disgusting.
one of them. I talked about one of the PR releases with one of my
Yeah.
teachers I have for public relations and
Yeah.
she was like this is poor. This
It's
is
like
poor.
I'm not angry. Like I'm happy for Chicago fans. They have a pretty big fan base. Like they have a passionate enough fan base.
And I don't want to attack the
Original six
fan base.
franchise. Like my issue is not with the fans. It's not
No.
at all with the fans. Like you guys, from what I've seen, have been great. You support your team. Like you've supported them through the rebuild. You guys were even great with like the cover up stuff. Like you made your voices heard that like, hey, this was
Yeah.
fucked up. You need to be held accountable for it. Like the fans are actually like most of the reason why this report came out, along with
I
John
think
Doe coming out and telling his story. Like the fact that Kyle Beach came out and told his story, like
sucks. I feel so
props
bad.
to him. I feel
I
terrible
read
for
that
him.
story. That's the
Yeah.
first time in 5 years. I felt my stomach turn. I went to the bathroom because I was like, I
Yeah.
genuinely felt ill reading that story. I was like, I just couldn't believe that, like reading it.
It's it's terrible, man.
If you guys
Like,
want to find it, it's out on the internet. I just advise you, if you want
yeah,
to find the information, do it with caution. It's
yeah,
really, I think I have a lot of dark humor. He has a lot of dark humor.
dude.
That
Like,
was foul reading some of the things I saw in that 106-page document. It was bad.
because it's not even like they took the proper steps to like make sure that like this guy got out of the organization. They made recommendations for him to go elsewhere.
He did it at Michigan.
He
He
was a
did it at
repeat
Notre
offender.
Dame. And then he did it in high school before finally
Yeah,
getting caught.
he
Piece
was a
of
he was a repeat
fucking
offender.
dog shit is what Brad Aldrich is.
Like, I can only hope that the Blackhawks have learned from all of this, and just hockey in general has learned from all of this. But man, I
The
think
other good thing is a
it's
lot of the players from that team are
they're
gone.
gone.
There's only one, I think, still there.
And Jonathan Taves is leaving, so
Yeah, I think he
they're
might be
not
retiring.
re-signing
You
him.
think
They're
he's
not.
retiring?
No, the Blackhawks told him they're not re-signing him.
Yeah,
But
but do you think he retires, or do you think he still
no,
tries to
I
play?
think he I think he finishes out his career in Winnipeg, where he's from.
Maybe, yeah.
But no, like I'm happy for the fans, honestly, but at the same time, man,
Yeah, I
it
feel
just
bad
leaves a
for.
sour taste in my mouth. It does.
I do feel bad for the fans though, because God, I'm looking. I just looked at Chicago's roster quickly.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
It's so bad,
Yeah, it's bad.
and it's bad. I get their top like a first six or original six market, but there's
Yeah.
not a lot of players I know would probably want to go there right now,
Um,
even with Bedard coming in.
I think with Bedard coming in, like if the
You
kid
might get
lights it up,
some.
if he lights it up, I think you'll find enough players that want to come there. It's like playing with McDavid and Crosby. Like you'll find players that want to play with them.
Yeah, and I guess,
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things. It's like it's such a big dark cloud that's going to hang
Yeah.
over the organization. That's going to affect. It's
Yeah.
like the same way I remember with the Jaguars. They came out and there was like tons of grievances where the
Oh
players got
yeah.
mistreated, and like some players literally got fined for not showing up by
Yep.
like. I remember, I think Dante Fowler for the Jaguars before he left got fined $500,000 because
Yeah.
Tom Coughlin's a douchebag. Um, I use that situation to say like it's one of these things where when you have a bad reputation that hangs over your head, unless you massively overpay, and then you have situations like Seth Jones, which
Oh man.
that contract's going to be awful by the end of it. It's already
That
bad now.
that
It's going to turn
contract
into an OEL.
that
And
contract
that's
is an
bad.
anchor, man. That's so bad. I don't get it. I don't know why they did it.
Yeah, it's going to turn into an OEL.
I gasped at it when it got
It might be
announced. I'm
worse.
like, what are you doing?
It's going to be an OEL, but I think it's even going to be
Yeah.
worse.
Oh, it's
It's saying a
terrible.
lot.
It's terrible. I
It's
don't.
just
It's so
yeah.
bad.
And folks, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we ended on kind of a negative note, but it's just one of those things where it's like we always whine about things like the officiating and stuff, but it's always frustrating when you see sometimes there's just situations I think that are bigger than the
Yeah.
sport. Whether like in
Yeah.
the football, it was DeMar Hamlin. With baseball, it was the cheating scandal.
Yeah.
It was a cheating scandal. Sometimes things are bigger than baseball. Things have to get addressed when things go
Yeah.
wrong. In the case of this,
Absolutely.
it's like I don't blame the fan base. I don't blame a lot of things, but I blame the league for
Yeah. You got to blame the people responsible. Like, you can't blame the fans because, like, the fans didn't ask for this.
no.
They didn't. Like,
And you can't blame the players for the most part.
No one asked for this.
No.
Like,
And the issues, I don't even think you could blame the current regime for this. You can't.
well, I will give them credit that they cleaned house, and they cleaned house after they got caught, but
Yes.
they cleaned house. They're trying to build a better culture there, which I commend them for doing. Like,
You
as
can't even
long
really blame them for it at this
as
point.
long as there's improvement and you ensure that this never happens again, or if it does happen, you take the proper
Gets a met.
steps to deal with it.
Gets addressed, yeah.
Like, it's growth. You need to grow. But to get off of a bad topic, let's end on a
Just
little bit of a happier
yeah,
note.
let's get some positive notes to wrap it up on.
So like let's just talk about the show in general, because like this is clearly a different setup. We're not in person anymore.
And we
last
broke
week,
ground with our first ever
yeah,
video, which I was
yeah.
so happy we pulled that off.
Last week you guys got the first video. This week you're getting another video. Um,
Yeah.
you're going to be getting videos all summer. You're not going to be getting live shows, unfortunately. Like, we're working on figuring that out.
Yeah.
There might be a couple of chances to get live shows in there. Um, we're going to try to stick to a schedule. We might end up doing more than one
Gonna
show a
try and
week,
keep it.
depending.
Yeah. But the guarantee is that either Monday nights or Tuesday nights, we
Yeah.
just have to kind of hammer that down. I was unfortunately coming back from school
Yeah.
Monday night, so I was like, I got back at like 9, or no, I got
Yeah.
back at like 8, unpacked everything,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah. Like, by
I ate
then,
dinner, it crashed, so I was like, but for the most part, I think we should be able to do Monday nights.
we should
I
be.
just have to. I might be working, so it's the only
Yeah.
other issue I have to see.
So what we can do is, like, if you guys like absolutely want to keep track of like when shows are coming, just follow us on our socials. Like, that's really the best way to keep track of it, because like stuff happens. Like, it's a busy time of year. Like, we're starting to unwind from school and university life, and we're getting out into the summer with like internships and jobs. You guys are still going to get your shows. Don't worry about that.
100%.
Like, you guys are still going to get good quality shows. You're going to get the rants from me, especially if the Leafs lose their series. You're going to get
Just by
another,
the
like,
way, let
it's
me
not
check
going to be as like
Wednesday.
explosive. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Would we
Um
do? You want to do one possibly the weekend if something goes wrong? Not the
yeah,
weekend,
we
but
can
like
do
Thursday,
that.
Friday.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, we'll put it on
Um
Twitter.
but it's not going to be as explosive, but it's going to be just like, hey, where do we go from here? um
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of just not
I'll
anger, but just frustration.
it's just frustration at this point. This one was anger. It's going to be frustration. Like, how could you not be? If you're a fan of a team, like, you get frustrated.
No,
um
100%.
but just in terms of the shows, just we'll keep you guys posted. We'll put stuff out. First shows of the week are going to be like Mondays or Tuesday. Like, the times will vary, but you'll still get a show like throughout the day. Like, if it's earlier in the day, cool.
Yeah,
If it's later in the day, like, you guys are used to that by now. But just really with that, expect a lot of content. We're still going to be active over the summer. Just because we're away from each other doesn't mean we're not going to be active.
oh yeah,
um
no, we're gonna be active. There's a
yeah,
lot.
there's going to
There's
be
a
a lot.
lot we got to talk about during the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, between the off season, the draft, and other ideas we've already started kind of
Yeah.
planning a little bit.
Yeah. Because, like, once we get a schedule ironed down, like, you guys will be the first one to know. We'll put out like a release on every social media platform we have. But really, until then, thank you guys for joining us. We know it's a little bit different. Hopefully it's still good. We're hoping that quality is still up. I think it will be. But just
Yeah.
thank you guys for the support. It means a lot. We'll see you either this weekend if we can get something running, or on Monday or Tuesday. You
Yeah.
guys will be the first one to know. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening. Have a good week, everyone.